is the switch that's happening over to the Cloud Foundry platform, right? So that's why you're no longer PHP fog, but AppFog, right?
Yes,
because there's all this stuff. So I think I'm going to guess the judges have questions. They might be unfamiliar with AppFog, right? Just as even though you were the winner last year, right? It's a possibility. So
yeah, actually, I do have a couple questions. So AWS has a management console that makes it fairly easy to spin up instances, spin down instances. Like, how is your control panel, or how is your system, a generation ahead of what Amazon's already doing?
It's a generation ahead because developers, as much as AWS thinks that developers want to deal with spinning up servers very quickly, they don't. Servers are ephemeral, and Amazon loves to tell people that. Your server can go down anytime. Imagine a MySQL server, you got 100 gigabytes of data on it, and it goes down just because Amazon doesn't care enough to keep it running. AppFog, that problem doesn't happen. We manage the service for you, and it's servers are ephemeral, applications live forever.
So I know you guys are changing some of your direction. Who do you see as now being your big competitors?
I think that Amazon is one of our big competitors because they have built a generation of developers that have this thought in mind of managing a lot of operations and a lot of systems. I think they have built a great generation and as we pointed out, decoupled the innovation spend, and it's a lot cheaper now to innovate. But I think there's a whole generation of new kind of development to be gained by going into the next step.
So are you guys now building a data center, or are you building a AWS competitor?
No, because there are plenty of data centers. The innovation enabler is not the data center.
Okay.
The innovation enabler is the lifecycle management for applications and dealing with it holistically. And that's something Amazon has never done well.
Yeah, maybe I'm missing your presentation, but what services do you actually, like, what are the concrete services you provide?
So you can deploy Node, PHP, Java, Ruby, any kind of application. You can combine those, bind Mongo, MySQL, Postgres, Memcache, any kind of service, and you can do that as you saw in seconds.
So are you guys then similar to like a Heroku?
Heroku, yes, was a pioneer in this area, and but I think that there's a bigger vision to be had.
If I could just, it seems like when you talk about like, you talked about building a data center versus competing with Amazon, the whole thing, so it sounds like your goal is kind of to keep Amazon as the, dumb, quote unquote, dumb infrastructure, right? And, don't let them move up the stack and compete with you, right?
Well, I was being slightly glib, but yeah.
So yeah, we run a bunch of stuff inside of data centers. We're taking some of our smaller sites up to Amazon. Let's say that, but what we're doing on the Amazon transition, especially for littler sites that we're replatforming, is we're forcing them to kind of do stuff the Amazon way. So let's say I have an architecture where I'm using ELB for load balancing, RDS for MySQL, Elasticache for Memcached, and I'm forcing my dev guys to do stateless AMIs that we can spin up and manage via Amazon. With an architecture that's kind of, forced like that on top of DevOps and development, what value could you guys add on top of that?
The first comment I'll make is that hooking together all of those independent pieces can easily, if you're not familiar with it, take months. If you're familiar, maybe it'll take you weeks. It won't take you seconds like you just saw. And seconds, you get everything that you just talked about built in. We've already done the work. We've put in the effort to do that. And now we're providing it as an instant on-demand service. The second thing is that each one of those components, every time you try something on Amazon, you're getting more and more locked in to a proprietary service that you have no ability to run anywhere else. So when Amazon goes down for the next downtime, no matter how many ELBs you've set up, no matter how much work you've put into it, the downtime is going to take the entire service down. And you have no portability. What we have at AppFog is a system that can run on HP Cloud, on Citrix, on Rackspace, even on premise. And you can migrate your applications between those different systems. And if you don't like AppFog for any reason, you can actually run it on your own laptop or anywhere you want because we've incorporated Cloud Foundry, which is an open source system.
Great answer.
So going back to what you said about Heroku, the stuff you mentioned that was concrete was very similar to what Heroku already provides. So is there something, and you mentioned there's something very different that you guys are providing. Can you be more concrete on what that is?
Yes, one of the big things right off the bat is the fact that Heroku is just as proprietary and locked down as Amazon is. You get none of the benefits of the portability. The more you try, the more locked in you are. With AppFog, we've incorporated Cloud Foundry. Cloud Foundry not only is open source, but it lets developers have a say in what they want. So you can take Cloud Foundry, run it on your laptop, and move your applications from AppFog to your laptop. Then you can say, Cloud Foundry doesn't work the way I like it to. My app doesn't run exactly like I want it to. This is not the T-bone steak of how I want to run my app. You can modify Cloud Foundry to make it the T-bone steak, contribute those modifications back upstream, and now they're running in AppFog, and we're able to give you back. You contribute, and we give back.
So you mentioned something about disaster recovery, and a key component of that. What's kind of your strategy around what happens when AWS goes down, for example?
Absolutely.
How are you solving that?
Yeah, disaster recovery has been something so difficult for cloud providers to provide because they don't think of applications holistically. Amazon Web Services thinks of services and resources, but not of applications. They don't understand the whole state of the system. And the difficult part of disaster recovery is snapshotting the entire state at one point in time. And that's what we're able to provide because we understand a holistic understanding of the entire application and services. So we can snapshot that, put it into a third-party system that contains the snapshot, and because we're running Cloud Foundry on, even on-premise can be, you can restore your snapshot to your, any other system and have your application running again in seconds.
Do you have a question, Peter?
Oh, I was going to ask how you snapshot a large database.
Yeah, so there are very difficult problems, and the idea with disaster recovery is also one that the closer you get to the extremes, the harder it becomes. And one of the problems is people have thought about that difficult question, and at scale, it's something that this has to mature. Big databases are going to be much harder to do, and as the technology gets better, it'll become more and more capable. But that doesn't mean that 80–90% of the applications running today can't take advantage and are at a smaller scale that could highly benefit from disaster recovery.
All right. Great. If there are no more questions, we're a few minutes, like a minute over the allotted time, so we'll just
Thank you very
wrap
much.
up then. Thank you.